first YouTube video was a crazy 16 years ago. It was titled Our Farm and it was just photos from around the farm that year. So I'm going to recreate that video, except 16 years later. We're going to go through all of the changes, the new machinery, the new buildings, and we're going to add up how much I've spent on capital investments in the last 16 years. I'll do a loop. So the new milking parlour is just behind me. We'll get there at the end of the video. But we're going to start in the cow house. Very little has changed in here in the last 16 years. New roof, new feed barriers, everything else exactly the same. Finished Frisian bulls. This shed is what we call our beef house. Hasn't changed in the last 16 years. I was a bit of a photographer back in the day, so I have a really cool photo of two cows at this feed barrier. Stick it up there. This hasn't changed either. It has got a new roof. I can't remember when that was done. I think it was done after the video. If it was, we'll add it to the costs. Now we start on the machinery. We'll start with the worst. This is our scraping tractor. It's a CM7090 special, although you wouldn't tell from this. Bought this in 1988. It is as rough as anything. We have to start it with a screwdriver at the minute. I really need a replacement. I might get something sorted in the next few months. To our first proper tractor, I would say. This is our 3000 series Massey. It's a 3115. It's absolutely seen better days. It looks rough, but this tractor never does anything wrong. Tons of power. I love this thing. I actually love it. I'm thinking of getting it restored. I was meant to do it this autumn, but that might not happen now. But at some point within the next year to 2 years, this is getting a full restoration, regardless of whether it makes any sense or not, because it doesn't. I could buy a restored tractor for less than this is going to cost. But this tractor was bought when I was 3 years old, so I kind of want to keep it good. So I'm going to spend the money on it. There is a photo from that video 16 years ago, which shows this silage pit, same silage pit, still using straw to seal the silo. The big difference really will be that in that video, that might have been our second cut by August. This is our third cut. We actually have some fourth cut in. So one of the changes has definitely been that we've moved from a 2-cut, maybe 3-cut silage system to a 4-cut, maybe 5-cut silage system. Our first piece of big new machinery is our JCB 420. This thing is incredible. The second I seen JCB announce this, I wanted one. Usually if that happens, I kind of have to get it. I kind of have a confession. I'm a wee bit addicted to machinery. Like, I just really like it. As you will see from the next 5 minutes of this video. Before this, we had a TM310. That was bought after that video was made 16 years ago as well. So what I'm going to do is we're going to add in the TM310. We're going to deduct the sale price of the 310 and then add in the purchase price of this 420 as well. What a beautiful machine. I'm really teasing the 8S here in the background of the last two clips, so we'll just deal with it now. We bought this tractor new last year. Again, as soon as I seen it, it reminded me of the 3000 series Masseys with the cab, and I just knew I wanted one. And if that happens, I usually end up having to buy it. It is a problem. Some would say it's a machinery addiction. I won't disagree with that. But we're going to add this giant cost to our total capex, but I still owe money on it, so we're going to deduct that off the bottom line. Used to use a 10X to lift our silage, and then 2 or 3 years ago we replaced it with this beautiful machine, the JF1260. In my opinion, I got it for an absolute bargain. One of the best purchases I've ever made. I'm probably going to say that a lot, but this really is. I absolutely love this harvester. It's just perfect. Try to find places that are out of the sun because it's so bright. Here we have another tractor. We bought this in 2009. It was ex-demo with 300 hours on it. It is our Case Puma 195. It was chipped, so it's producing quite a lot of horsepower more than 195. It's probably around 240, 250. It's been a great machine apart from the hydraulic spools. We'll not get into that now. But when we bought this, we traded in our old CS150, which will pop up there. So what we're going to do, we're going to add the purchase price, which from memory was 55,000, and we're going to deduct the trade-in price of the CS150. If I've got any of these numbers wrong, we'll use AI technology to voice over what I say with the correct number. Numbers are from my head, so if something different pops up on the left hand side of the screen, go with that. This is just from my head. I honestly haven't looked at any of these numbers before this video. I'm just going to send the guy who's going to edit this for me a spreadsheet with all of the information because I have it saved on a database. We have two 18-foot Donnelly silage trailers. We bought these in 2016, I think, and they were an unbelievably low price of £8,700 each. I could get as much, if not more, for these today with 7 years of work on them. We have two slurry tankers. We have a field tanker, which is 1,600 gallons, and we fill that with our road tanker, which is 2,750 gallons. Both of these were bought in 2014. Again, voice me over if I got that wrong. And from memory, the big tanker was
16,500
and the small tanker was
13,550.
We'll voice over it if I get it wrong. We have put every single gallon of slurry spread on our farm through that little tanker, boomed out of the big tanker, since we bought them 9 years ago. And that was all based on the idea that we wanted to reduce soil compaction. Believe me, it makes such a difference. It's one of the best decisions I ever made, was to switch to trying to reduce soil compaction by using a small slurry tanker. A small purchase, but saved me a lot of time moving to a bigger fertilizer sower. I bought this in the middle of the COVID pandemic and it was like £3,000 or something, so we'll add it on the total anyway, even though it's not a lot. Have a big loader, we need a big buck rake. This is our 12-foot folding MDE buck rake. It was just started when I posted that video 16 years ago. So on this half we have calf pens, and then over here we have more cow cubicles. There will eventually be a cow house between the new milking parlour and them girders. Actually forgot the mowers, so we'll have a look at them now. The most surprisingly smart investments was a front and back mower. We used to mow with a single trailed mower. We could never get the grass mowed in time. You're being ripped off if you're paying a man to mow for you, even though I still do have to do that. This is our front mower. It's a Kverlund 3632 or something. We bought this in 2018, maybe. We'll voice it over if I'm wrong. It was £12,500 for this front mower. We also bought a 3.6 metre rear mower, which is a Kverlund 3336, I think. And it was £16,000 when we bought it. I nearly forgot about the chimney. We have to add that to the total. Last year we bought a silage compactor. Really good addition to the farm. We're getting like 15 to 20% more grass in our silage pits, and it also improves fermentation. In the old photos, this was a big embankment and I would have been standing up there. And then you can see where the new heifer house has went and replaced the old heifer house. And for reference, there's the big blue bin, still there. I think the last time that was used was 1998. Such a waste. I really need to maybe think about doing something with it. Cool photo of the cows grazing in a field, and the cows just happen to be in the same field today. Although unfortunately they broke out. So they're over like 3 times the area they're meant to be today. But I'm going to try to sneak down and get a little video to show you the cows, how much better the grass is. And this field was actually, the whole bottom of the big hill was filled and the top of it was dozed off. So it might look a little bit different, but it'll just be a nice shot. I could swear that tire's in the old photo from 16 years ago. We are nearly done. We just have to go and look at the inside of that shed that I mentioned at the start opposite the cow house, which was built at exactly the time that video was posted. And then we have one more tractor and then the milking parlour. I have no idea what our total's at the minute. It's probably $250,000. Is that way off? I think we'll end up about $750,000. But it could be less. I don't think it'll be more than 3/4. Between $500,000 and $750,000 is my guess for our capital investment over the last 16 years. What we call our CAV cubicle house. It hasn't really changed in the last 16 years. There's some new cubicles put in, a new railing, a new gate here and there, but it's basically the same. Did get a new roof as well in the last 16 years. We'll not worry about adding that in. But one of the things which is new is I bought myself a plough last year at an auction. It's worked out really well. It was not expensive. But I bought it because I thought I would have loved ploughing. I had this idea in my head of getting up in the morning, getting a coffee, some snacks, and just going and sitting on the tractor all day and ploughing, and it would be so enjoyable. Turns out I hate ploughing. I ploughed 17 acres last year. It took me 3 days, and I have a genuine phobia, like a deep down dread of having to plough fields, to the point where I'm almost paying someone to do it again so I don't have to. So I bought a plough. I'm not going to sell it. It is useful, but man, I hate ploughing. Last tractor, just before we get to the milking parlour. This was bought in 2004, so it's not going to be added to our total, but it's been a really good tractor. It's cost a lot of money. We've spent a lot on it, but it's just such a nice, handy size, so it's worth a mention at least. Sprayer was new a few years ago, 3 maybe. It did not cost a lot of money, and if Red Tractor asks, this is my contractor sprayer. Okay, let's get into the biggest investment, which was the milking parlour. Such a huge change for our farm. This is what we used to milk in, and we went from 8 points to a ridiculous 40. We'll absolutely be doing a much more in-depth video on our milking parlour about the design decisions, about cow flow, about how fast we can milk in here, a nice time lapse of us milking. That is absolutely a video which will be coming very, very soon. So if you want to see that, subscribe, like this video to help me pay for all of this. I do still owe some money on this milking parlour as well, so I'm going to pop up the cost, and we'll also deduct what I still owe on it, since I have not actually finished paying this off yet. Wow, I did not think we would have spent that much, or that little, whatever it is, but hope you enjoyed that video. Until next week, there'll be another video, no idea what. It'll be about something hopefully interesting.